Coming up tonight, we review the good news from today's budget. We learn some VAT strategies from an accountant. Desperate times as Vic assists a protection advisor with a challenge. Hammond goes to a travel agent. And Regulation Corner is back.
Before we dive in, a quick disclaimer. Tonight we have independent experts on tax and insurance joining us to provide valuable insights. However, please remember that any advice or information shared here is general in nature and does not consider your personal circumstances. For tailored advice, please consult your own professional advisors. Thanks for tuning in, and let's get started.
Hello and welcome to eFIXX TV, your fortnightly live stream here on both Facebook and on YouTube. And it's UK Budget Bombshells. This is going to be an absolutely explosive episode. In order to do so, we've got some wonderful things to go through, but it's without you, we couldn't make this possible. Please leave your comments, even if they're only mildly related to the budget. And the other things we're going to talk about this evening, leave them in the comments. If you're watching it on catch-up, please also leave them in, because we're going to answer one of those questions this evening we always get asked, along with two other things. The first one being, we're going to look into that budget, and we've got an expert in order to do that, as well as those things we don't like to talk about. Insurance and protecting your salary in the event of a moment in your old age. The old hip goes, you have a little stumble, don't you, Gordon? Can't provide for your family, that arthritic hip never recovers, and how have you provided for them? And the subject we always like to get into, which is VAT, so make sure you stay on for that.
It is.
But in order to do this, I've got to have some great guests, and it's not you, Gordon, even though you're back.
It's not me, but I think we should put a disclaimer in front of all our live streams, Gary.
What is that?
Well, I mean, you're suffering from VD again. And,
VD?
Yeah, verbal diarrhea.
Oh, right, okay, sorry. I went back to the war era then. Thinking I'm probably missing part of the body for that.
I've heard you can get insurance for that as well.
Wow,
but
okay.
we'll dive into that. Yes, and VAT. Oh, it's a one people get scared of, but hopefully later on we'll make it not quite as scary.
No,
yeah,
okay.
But let's just have a quick look at our guests who are going to help us out in there, crossing the green room.
Joe
Looking
Hammond.
very excited
Joe
there.
Hammond. That's
Joe
Joe
Hammond's brother, who's recently changed his name to Jonathan Swartz from our accountants, Stirk Lambert, and Gary Morrissey, protection advisor from Access Financial Services.
That looked a spit of Joe Hammond in about 6 months' time, I reckon. Once he gets back to that gym and on the prickly pepper, or whatever it was he was drinking all those times when we did the couch to never get into 5K. Time. Right, so budget's been out. Okay, so he's in the audience as well. He didn't get anywhere near that 5K. So with that in mind, okay, so what was the highlight for you personally from the budget?
I mean, I think we have to look at the bigger picture.
Okay, yeah.
I mean, because obviously if you look at your personal finances, they're probably in a spot of turmoil now. There wasn't much good news there. We think we might unearth something.
Not sure.
But let's think of the electrical industry. What's good? If we're building stuff, it's normally quite good for the industry, isn't it? So more homes, houses, schools, railways, things like that. Eventually, that trickles down into more switches and sockets. Yeah,
and they've done it in numbers, they've done it in billions, but it's about 1.5 million houses throughout the life of the Parliament. And we know how these numbers can get fudged around and all the rest of it over the 4 to 5 years that they're in. But with that new home standard coming in, that could be an even bigger bang. Is it 25 they're looking to bring that in?
It is. Well, they're trying to. Yeah, well, the future home standard.
Yeah, that's I got it wrong again. Always do.
Future home standard.
Future home standard
should have heat pumps. Might have solar. Hopefully, this government might take a more proactive view to energy efficiency and put that solar in, put a few other things in. But yeah, that should be good. Yeah, obviously, the big question is, they will want to decarbonise the grid by 2030, which is not that far away. No, in which case, you would have trained 20, how many electricians can you train in 4 years?
Yeah, that's what I mean. Yeah, that's going to be our problem, as it always is. We haven't got enough electricians out there being trained currently to fit the shortfall for heat pumps and solar, let alone building another 1.5 million homes, maybe in the next 5 years as well. So I would suggest that's exciting times for anyone in our industry.
It is.
But the real thing that most people might have missed, they did it as a percentage. I think it was 1.7%. But actually, if you put it in monetary terms, you've saved yourself a penny off a point.
All right, okay.
Rejoice.
Draft beer down 1.7%.
Yeah, 1 penny that works out as. So really, the hidden gems are in now, I would suggest. The budget's not all as bad as we thought.
No, it's not. And obviously, as we go through tonight, fire in your questions. You know, it's not often you get someone from accounts who's here to help. Think of those times when you've been on site. So fire your questions in, fire any question in, and hopefully we can try and answer some of that. They're now really worried because we've asked for any questions. So we best bring our guests in to stop the worry, Gary.
Well, yeah, Gary. Yeah, bring the worry in for Gary.
Worry and Gary.
Here we go then. So let's bring them in then. So who we got there then, Joe?
Gary can never remember names.
No, and you're not Joe.
It
so
is
you've
time,
gone into
it is
that
time
one,
to bring in Gary Morrissey and Jonathan Schwartz.
Finally, a man with a wonderful name. Gary, yeah, it's brilliant to see you. Fantastic. First time
Great to be here.
I had another fellow Gary on the show as well, yeah, so we're double Gary today.
Not many Garys left, Gary.
No, there isn't, no, and we're going to use that word a lot because not many people are calling their children Gary either, are
I don't
they?
think there's any anymore, no.
No, there isn't. Jonathan's quite a common name, isn't it, Jonathan?
Fairly common, yes.
Yes, okay. So we're going to do the 60 seconds first. We're going to start with you, Jonathan. Obviously, just give us a little bit about your career background. Obviously, we know a tiny bit about you, but of course, people are wondering about betting on the race wall. We've probably got the thoroughbred horse here in the stable. We've probably got the, I don't know, the...
I used to be a thoroughbred.
Yeah, well, you're maybe...
Now it's more bred.
Yeah, maybe it's the beachside pony, maybe, for those little treks up and down this sandy
more the
beaches.
donkey on Blackpool Beach, that type of thing,
okay, all right, so, Jonathan, 60 seconds, tell us all about yourself.
I'm Jonathan. I'm a chartered accountant at Stirk Lambert & Co. We're a full-service firm of chartered accountants based in Keighley in West Yorkshire. I've been an accountant for nearly 20 years, so I've had very little time to be an electrician before that.
Starting early.
Yeah. I deal with most areas of accountancy and taxation and work mostly with small to medium-sized businesses.
Okay, for the amount of time we're going to have you today, this would cost us a pretty penny, I would suggest, so that's where the comments come in really handy. However, they want to know a whiff of DIY. You've mentioned putting up shelves and stuff like that in mass.
I have put up shelves and I have done flat pack furniture, but that's about the extent of my DIY experience.
Qualified carpenter, we'll put that down. Yeah, okay. Gary, first of all, a little bit about yourself and your background, and then we'll delve into your electrical prowess.
Oh, my name is Gary. I work for Access Financial Services. I've been in financial services now for 30 odd years. Lots changed since then. So my main role will be to help clients make an informed decision on their they're protecting their assets and their well-being in the forms of life insurance, protection, critical illness. And making sure that, once I've spoken to them, that they can make that choice to make the right decision in the future for them.
And I'd say it's super important. Anyone who we all have come out the back of COVID and understood what that major problem was. And obviously, if that had happened without the backup from the government, we can see, obviously, how important it would be for those things. However, we'll come back to that because I want to know about this vast electrical background you've got, because it's the slightly more mature taking on the thoroughbred over there. So what's your electrical background?
My electrical background is, I'd say what you call non-existent, maybe.
Panel builder?
I didn't know what a panel builder was till about an hour ago.
Okay, you're playing us down. You
think I'm really good at electrics. You really do, don't you? You think I'm an old whiz kid at this, yeah? We shall see.
We shall
We'll see what the scores are, eh?
It'll be interesting to see where they go with young or slightly more mature. Gordon?
It is, well, obviously that means it is time for the Electricians Challenge, and it's time for everyone in the
hang on, what about
audience
getting your time in?
That's what I'm doing now.
Oh, right, okay. I thought you were kicking it in there.
First radio there.
It sounds like it, doesn't it? Well, he saved you there, hasn't he? You were kicking it in. Here we go,
It's time to get your times in. If you think that Jonathan is the fastest, put Jonathan and 2 minutes 34. If you think Gary is the fastest, now Gary is not often a name associated with speed, but put in Gary 5 minutes 60.
I saw what he did there. I could have mentioned the weight loss as well.
And so people really know, the split. Sean, you can't have two goals. You've got to put one person. So it's the person you think's fastest and the time.
Pick both.
You can only, we'll take your first time. There we go. Aaron Nobbs is on the case.
And yes, Aaron, you can come up. You haven't messaged me again since Gordon's come back, so he wants to come on the show.
Oh,
so
it's level pay. Have you been hoodwinked by Gary?
Not really, I don't think so. I'm backing Gary, okay?
Yeah.
I think, again, your shelves aren't great, I would suggest on that one. So Jonathan against Gary should be a classic. We haven't seen these,
no, we haven't.
So this should be good. Now, defend yourself at all costs, because when this kicks off, we kick off, okay? Time's up. G-Dog, you ready?
I'm still waiting these times, watching these times coming in.
We're ready.
I'm seeing where we are myself.
Yes,
Let's go.
Let's go. Who's up first? Speedy Gary? Here we go.
Oh,
Oh, here we go. So in we go. Remember,
wheels are cable,
we
this
see
could be a
3
challenge.
runs. We only record the first run. So let's see how Gary's getting on.
I don't know what we're doing there. But,
Nice knit one, curl one, pearl one. Okay,
Oh, that's good.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, brilliant. Got to take the cover off, didn't you? Did the cable first. Was that a ploy? Was that a ploy?
A tactic.
Wow.
Yeah. Old school tactic.
Old cool tactic. So in Liverpool, done much removing the cables, or just installing of them? Is you ever been out at night and borrowed some?
We tend not to install, it's more of removals.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Pipes as well. Do you do copper pipes?
We'll do anything, to be honest with you.
Yeah, anything metallic. Wheels.
We'll do any copper for copper.
Yeah, absolutely. Here we go. So stereotypes apart. You're up the tube. That didn't take long at all.
Right.
And in we go. So into the Luden consumer unit, the only consumer that I know of that's matte black and on the market. And we're into there with the biggest knot of cables I've ever seen.
Pull that through. Go on.
I think I've missed my vocation in life there.
You did, yes, absolutely. You like them stripping tools, didn't you? So they're good. So got plenty of copper showing, so this should be fun. Did you know which way round they went?
Naturally.
Yep, good.
Don't ask me now, though, but naturally I did then.
At the time, left the tools on the floor. This is good. This is a good, steady start. Remember, you have 3 attempts. This could well be your fastest one, your slowest one. We don't know until the final times come in. So don't be hoodwinked by the amount of copper being shown there. It's always good. I think the insulation's overrated. Okay, so getting the air to it. The insulation will actually keep them conductors warmer than having bare ones. That's why copper bars are bare, aren't they? So they're cool as well.
You're right there, actually.
Yeah, protective conductor goes
You've been
in.
taking note of what I've been telling you this afternoon.
Did you connect any of that stuff at the top? That looked like the protective. Was close. Did you screw it in, or have we got a poor edit?
I think Josh been very generous with the editing here.
Okay, right, okay. So you like putting your tools down and picking them back up. There we go again. So down it goes, up and down like a yo-yo. Oh, we're into the back box now, so we're nearly there. Earth the back box, and then we're just simply 4 connections away from possibly the fastest Gary ever to take on the Electricians challenge.
You've obviously only had one Gary here.
Yes, we have only had one Gary, and you are the first Gary, so you will be the fastest Gary on the board. I don't think this Gary sitting in this seat will ever beat this time. I think it is probably going to be right up there. That's a lot of copper again, a lot of copper. Do you trim them back, or are we going with that? Oh, we ain't done the screws.
No, I let them go. I wanted to show how much copper we've actually got here.
Yeah, it's good. Well, it's actually better for us. We've just weighed in our green cables bin, and one of the things we said was if it was only bright copper. So again, by having most of that as bright copper, that will weigh in a lot better than the PVC that we paid. 200 quid, did we get?
£270.
Oh, nearly 300
Round.
quid. Oh, dear me. And that's going to go for the Team North Christmas do, okay, which is only open to people in the North, okay. So that's we're still those 4 connections away from
nightclub
complete.
again. Looking forward to that. Gary's nightclub trip.
Dock stores not coming.
Get you booked in.
I'm not doing anything. Hello? What happened there? Hang on, Rick. You can't have a shared time here. This looks. Oh no. Oh dearie me. What's going on?
He did say he was going to edit that bit.
Oh yeah, he's edited it in. Well done. You got that on quick. Well done, Rick. If he beats your time, Rick, you're going to be livid because you've actually done half it. Scroll the floor. Yeah, there it is. Here we go. So does Rick help you with this bit?
Naturally.
The right end, yeah. You got the right end there. I know the way you checked it. That's good. You don't use screwdrivers at all, do you?
Oh. I only drink them.
Right. Wow. Let's see how this. Well,
I think we know where this is.
I think if you put Gary down, I'd go,
just
wow.
relax your way into it now.
Oh, what are we doing? Hey, we've had refusal. We said a thoroughbred horse, but that got to the first and refused it. Now, it is, I've got to mention it. You haven't got my chair? No. Oh, it's got a Hammond.
Aerodynamic,
yeah,
Gary.
Absolutely. Yeah. It's Duncan Goodhue didn't have any. He won a gold medal, didn't he?
Working on the cables at the other side of the room here.
Yeah, absolutely.
Probably meticulous here, accountants.
One of the smartest people ever. Wow, up first time. Was that a first attempt? Did he go?
It was.
Yes.
It was indeed. Yes.
Wow. Yeah, it is a race, by the way.
That's what he gets for watching me.
Yeah, absolutely. All those tips. Absolute tips. It is glacial. Yeah. Okay. So, are you a psycho? Oh, you're going for the strippers. Okay. Yeah. Have you used strippers before?
Nope.
First time.
Only on a stag night.
Just checking. Okay, here we go. So a couple of screws to do, and we will be in for the 3 connections within the Luden consumer unit. Have you got a black consumer unit at home or a white one?
A white one.
White one. Most people have got one. This is matte black. Yes, fantastic. Imagine if you painted your walls black.
Seen one in the wild yet, have we?
No.
They're out there, but not many.
Lots of colleges have requested them. They've got them to show students, which is pretty good. So we're circuit protective conductor, and we're going to drop to our knees. Are you going to kneel, or are you going to hover? Oh, you're a hoverer.
Oh,
them jeans are too nice. Yeah, change the knees. That's good. That shirt is sprayed on, and it reminds you of the Incredible Hulk. Do you remember that when he used to bulk up at the end? That shirt would get under the arms there. It used to go there first, didn't it? Under the pits, split from there.
Did it really? There you go. It's the stranger things you remember there, Gary.
It is. Well,
That was his favourite bit.
it was. Yeah, it was. Yeah, it was very much You've seen the inside of a gym, I would take it then.
I have, yes. Yeah.
How often do you go?
4 or 5 times a week.
Which one do you use?
Thereabouts. I go to Everlasting Keithley.
Oh, right, okay, in Keighley.
Well, you have the name of a good gym, Gary?
No, that's why I haven't seen him in now. He's the local one in Skipton. I'm a 7-day-a-week man. These people who can't do the full week, it shows, and I thought that on you.
You're saying you love the outside of a gym?
Yeah. Well, Jim's got a calf in Skipton, and I've 7 times a week each day.
Is that where you spend most of the time in the gym?
Oh, you don't spend much time in the hairdressers, do you? There we go. We can do this all night, young man, all night. It's not a problem.
It could be midnight.
Yes, so we're just 3 connections away from which is a respectable, probably going to be the fastest accountant ever to take on the Electricians Challenge, along with the fastest ever, Gary. But it's all about pride now, I would suggest. Remember, we could have completely hoodwinked you because you get 3 attempts. This was the very first attempt, and historically, people do get faster. Okay, so there we go again. Now we can all see it. Oh, it's like a lino. So 1 screw away from completing, possibly one of the smartest people ever to do the race walk. That's it, well done, Jonathan. Brilliant. Okay, so that looks rather exciting. What's your first instincts, Gordon? Who do you think was quicker in that run?
That would edge towards Jonathan a bit,
Yes.
but how the audience thought otherwise?
No, that's right. That's good.
Yeah. It could be you.
Slow and
We'll have to
steady
go and have a
wins the
look.
race.
I'd just like to say thank you to the audience.
They're a good judge of character, I would suggest.
Unfortunately, the 3rd attempt I did, they've lost the editing for it.
Look at that. Look at that. The GOAT. Do you know what the GOAT stands for?
Yes, the grey old age teacher. Yeah.
Grey old age teacher. Well done. I would have thought you'd have gone with Mo Salah, the greatest of all time, but never mind. We'll come back to football at some point. G-Dog, where are we going to start?
Well, we can start over here, yeah, but I'd be in the wrong wall.
So let's hang on. We're over in the BG Sync Energy fast charging arena here, aren't we? So this is the wall turbocharged by electricity to get you up this leaderboard. And you're telling me that 1 is over here?
Well,
Let's go over there.
I think I'm safe in this area tonight.
Right, okay. Oh, look at that. You can win a city break. I'm sure we'll come back to that in a few moments.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm worried. Who are we going for first?
Well, we'll go with Jonathan first,
Jonathan.
actually. Which
That's
actually,
not a good sign, Jonathan, by the way.
No, it's good, actually, but I'm going to have to shuffle down here.
Oh,
so
that's good.
I'm going to have to shuffle down here.
Being the bottom of this one, that's a positive, isn't it? Well, not that.
Yeah,
that's more like the middle.
I mean,
now.
there's former ex-electricians in here and people, this is commendable territory. So you actually did this in 6 minutes, which is
6 minutes flat.
that was good, bang on, yeah. It's like
I'm fairly happy with that, I think, yeah.
like a well-balanced set of accounts.
Yeah, absolutely.
And Gary, you've done exceptionally well here.
The higher the better.
You have got very high time. Yeah, we're going to have to adjust.
Let's get closer because obviously I don't want to show the time. So
We're going to have a leader. Yeah, is going to be unseated here.
No.
It's a time that's hanging around for a long time.
Oh no, Cole's back in the good books.
Yeah. There's Ross Kent going down. There's Carl going down. Yeah. Garrett, you did this in an impressive 10 minutes.
I'm proud of that.
Oh, give him a round of applause for that. That's like Roger Bannister doing it in 3 minutes tomorrow. Yeah. Oh wow, that is.
Man United have had shorter managers than that.
You have added almost a minute to the worst time possible, Gary. That's absolute. There is plenty of headroom to be underneath you now, and that was your quickest run. Your first run breached 20 minutes.
So, consistency. It's all about consistency.
Well, you halved your time. You were 50% quicker. Your second run, you didn't actually complete it, did you?
Well,
you didn't.
That's what I
made me do it in boxing gloves, that's why.
Yeah, 20 minutes. He held him back. Yeah, I like it. Yeah, get over it. Didn't give you much of a chance there. Well, you've got a T-shirt behind you. If you want to just turn around, you have got a T-shirt. Let's have a look at the T-shirts.
Get a T-shirt. I think
So you got one of these
as well.
Okay, so yep, there we are.
Look at that.
Seen on eFIXX TV. That's yours to keep and take home and cherish, and you can have the slowest person on the race.
I'll just have #1 electrician on the back.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely.
That'll do me. Thanks for that.
If you'd have come 6-7 months ago, you'd have been well in the middle of that board. It's only recently that time wouldn't have got on there. You know, so you have to be pretty rapid.
If I'd have come 8 months ago, I'd be first.
No, you wouldn't. No, you wouldn't. Okay, so yeah, that was great. Nice bit of fun. Hopefully the time's coming in. Remember, the phone number will go in there for Jenny's burner phone. So if you are the quickest, you get to ring her. I take it you want a sheet of my wonderful stickers and things like that. You can get a prize in the post. So that's pretty good. Right, that's all the shenanigans done, Gordon.
We're into the budget. We're into the budget.
Let's go. Oh, burner phone. Let's have a quick Jenny moment. She never gets. No, stay there, Jenny. Don't wander off. Let's do Jenny moment.
Who is it?
Who is it? Daddy B. Oh, we hadn't heard from. Oh, we hadn't heard from him for ages. How is he?
Is that your real name?
Yes, it is. Yeah, Daddy B. Okay. Has he been ages since we spoke to Daddy B? Has he been on recently? Ask him.
Have you been on recently?
Okay, keep talking. Yep, no, yes, no. Just speak, Jenny. This is a live show. Look at these two rogues in here. Look at this. I think we've got a regulation corner this evening. And Joe's giving away a holiday. Right, I'm back. Yes, so, right, okay. He's been on for ages, hasn't he, Daddy B?
I think he's on every week.
Oh, is he? Okay. Yeah. Well, you don't mention him, do you? Yeah. Right, here we go then. So start off, let's fire some questions at the accountant and put him in a really tough spot then. So key things that came out of the budget. What changes do you think are super key for the people watching this live stream as we come through?
So for electricians, the first major change that stands out is some big changes to national insurance.
Right.
Only if you're...
Well, let's bring it in.
Employed,
let's bring all the changes in.
Your employer.
So,
yes, only for businesses, so employers of.
Right, talk me through the first line then, because that doesn't, because we've gone up in numbers, some go down and some go up, and they're all different.
So the rate of employers' national insurance has increased from 13.8% to 15%.
Okay.
The threshold above which employers' national insurance is paid has decreased from £9,100 to £5,000.
And that's bad news.
That's bad news.
So they're both bad news. One went up and one went down, and they're both terrible news.
Both very bad news.
Nice.
Yes, unfortunately, yes.
Okay.
So that basically means that employers' national insurance will be paid on an additional £4,100
At 15%.
per each employee. Yes.
right. So if you're someone
At an
watching,
increased rate.
so if you're someone watching, yeah, that's going to put your wage bill up. It's not going to cost the employees.
Exactly.
They're not going to see any difference. It's just the employer. But a lot of electricians we know, it might be themselves who work for themselves, but as part of a limited company and pay themselves a salary.
Oh.
That's going to hit them.
Oh,
Yeah.
didn't think of that. So you work for yourself, you're still employed, so it does affect you.
It does, yes. If the salary you pay to yourself as a director is more than £5,000, it will affect you, yes.
Right.
Because you'll pay national insurance on that
Hopefully
salary.
they are. Not a poor industry.
Now there is some good news in that the employment allowance has increased from £5,000 to £10,500.
Right.
So the employment allowance is an allowance that can be offset against a business's employer's national insurance liability. So if, for example, for a whole tax year, your total employer's national insurance tax bill, if you like, was £15,000,
Yeah.
you can now deduct £10,500 from that.
Right.
So your tax bill, your NI bill would be £4,500.
So why
However,
they've done that? Just try and put some reasoning why they've done that, because they've taken on two, but
Yeah.
what are they trying to soften the blow on it for us?
The increase of the employment allowance is likely to benefit the smallest businesses the most.
Ah, right, okay. Yeah, but one or two employees
Exactly, yeah.
pushing the blow.
Yeah, whereas the increase in the rate of national insurance and the reduction of the threshold will affect a much larger number of larger businesses.
You're a Tesco's, you employ all these people, yeah.
Exactly,
But if you're
yes.
Bill or Susan Smith, you might get with one or two employees, you might actually be fractionally better off.
Yes, yeah.
Okay. Remember, this is not advice, financial advice.
Depending upon the specific salaries of those employees, yeah.
I suppose we fall into that a little bit then, don't we? We sort of got a kick in there, did we? A little bit of one?
But again, it's carefully looking at your numbers.
Yeah.
Because I'd have to see. The government never make these things easy. There's always a few bits you have to add up to get the answer. But in theory, it could be neutral to a little bit good for small employers.
Yeah.
But you've got a warning there on single director companies.
Yes.
So if you just, perhaps you're an electrician, you might be doing some tax efficient thing. You might have registered a limited company and there's just one director in the company.
Right, okay.
There's a problem.
Now, yes, there is one drawback if there is only one director who's on the payroll. And that drawback is that that company is not eligible for the employment allowance.
Right.
So that increase from £5,000 to £10,500 would not be available for them.
You need to find someone at home who's maybe a significant other in your life. And maybe they might already be employed by making you a two-company person, 2 directors maybe, in the company, or
Yes, if there were 2 people employed, then the company would become, or the business would become eligible for the employment allowance.
I'd imagine most people watching this stream have just gone, I'm all right again now, aren't I? Because most people have a significant other in their life. Do you come across it quite often that the other person in the household, I'm trying to keep this very neutral around sex according to it, so the young lady's the electrician, significant others at home, yes, and yes.
Quite a few people do happen to work with their partner, yes.
And about 12,570 quid a year, the 2 of them each?
That tends to be the most tax efficient salary to
Exactly that salary?
To pay, yeah.
What are the chances? What are the chances? So again, it's just being careful to look at these numbers. There is still, you can navigate a little bit through them, but if you do work just purely for yourself, this is the chance to maybe, if you want to be a little bit more tax efficient, to take on somebody else, agreed?
Potentially, yes.
This is not advice, remember that. We're just recommending stuff. Not one as bad as it sounds, but obviously there's a lot of companies out there with a lot of employees going to be paying a lot more tax.
If you don't take on somebody else, just be careful if you do reduce your salary down to, say, £5,000 to avoid the extra national insurance, your salary would then not be high enough to get a national insurance contribution for that tax year.
Right.
As your salary would need to be around £6,000.
Right.
To get a national insurance contribution.
And that affects you getting what we call the old age pension?
Entitlement to state pension, yes.
Right, okay. State pension. Is that what they call it now? I've been called an old age one for you, young man. You're nearly there. You're nearly there. You're getting there quicker.
You're catching up, Gary.
So, no, I'm definitely not. No, you've still got the same gap. That will never change. Okay, so
percentage-wise.
Yeah, percentage-wise. Okay, I'll go with that. So, but okay. So, would you say that's disastrous for small people? I'd say for the small electrical companies, it's not bad news.
Very small, potentially not. If somebody is a single director company, it's potentially a bit of an issue if they don't employ somebody else. And certainly for larger small to medium-sized businesses, it is going to increase their employment costs.
Just a quick one for you, Gag, because I don't know the answer. This is one of those ones I'll regret saying. Are you employed by the company or are you self-employed?
No, I'm self-employed.
Ah, right. So, and there's only one person in your company?
Well, I work under Access Financial Services, but
Right.
I'm self-employed in the work I do for them, yeah.
Right, okay. So is that going to have any changes?
Are you a sole trader or do you trade through a company?
No, it's through the company.
Through a company, right, okay. Well, it depends on what level of salary you pay yourself as to what effect the national insurance changes would have.
Okay, all right. Right, that's the first one. Any more in there, or we're going to go on to what you think might be the second change? Big change. What do we think it is?
Well, the next one, if we bring in the next slide, Joe, which this is business asset disposal relief. Yeah. Now, let's picture this, Gary. You're perhaps getting to the end of your career.
I hope so.
And you've built up an unsuccessful electrical business, and you want to offload the misery onto somebody else.
I certainly do.
Yeah. So you might try and extract some money out for that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So if you've actually made a profit on that asset, perhaps it was passed down from your father before you, and you carried on building the business up, but now it's time to pass it on again.
Yes.
You're going to sell it and make a profit. Yeah. Up until April this year, you could pay 10% tax on that.
Correct, yes.
Oh, right, okay.
So most small businesses would qualify for this relief, which is a capital gains tax relief. So it reduces the rate of capital gains tax due on a capital gain.
But they used to have that sort of, I'm going to get it, entrepreneurial tax thing where it was capped.
Entrepreneurs relief, yes.
Did I almost get that right? And that was from my own knowledge, not from earlier talking as well. I half got it right. I thought that was like you could have a one-off, sell a business, and they didn't completely clatter you on the first go-round. Has that changed?
So this is a similar relief. This is.
It ain't, because it's gone up.
This is the new version of that relief, basically.
Which is worse. So, because it was 10%
now. Yes.
So that 10%.
This has been 10%. However, it is increasing to 14% from April 2025, and then 18% from April 2026.
Yeah. So if I was going to sell this year and I'd sold for $1 million, I'd pay £100,000 in tax.
Correct. Yeah.
Next year, 140,000, and then the year after, 180,000.
Exactly.
So
yes.
if
you're entrepreneurial, well done.
Yes.
Let's kick you right in the shin.
If you are ready to sell it, it will be advisable to consider doing it sooner rather than later from a tax perspective.
Right.
So I've only got to just go and find that business, build it up. I've got until April
to make £1 million.
£1 million. Still, isn't it?
You have to held it for a certain amount of time as well, don't you? Is it a few years you've got to?
You do, yes. There's various requirements to qualify for the relief.
Yeah. So.
If you've got a problem with that, leave the comments below. If you were just going to get caught on that with your multi-million-pound business you're going to sell, it would be nice just to hear your sob story. Yeah, you'll get a lot of tears from me on that one. So, Right, okay, so yeah, again, so that's sort of crushing it is crushing the entrepreneurial spirit in this country though, because we wanted to, grow an economy based on people being upwardly mobile. That's a little bit of a kick, isn't it? A little bit of a kick, I would suggest. You got any more misery in there for us?
Some good news for people who are employed, I think, if we bring in the next slide. The old minimum wage has gone up, so if there's any apprentices watching, you're getting an extra £1.05 an hour from April.
Yeah?
Yep.
Yeah, okay, £1.
That's all right. You'd take that, wouldn't you?
Well, I'm just thinking on the back of that. So I get £1.05 given to me per hour.
Yeah.
I get the bus to work.
Yeah.
I've lost £1 each way as well. I've done £1 extra on the bus, so it's gone from £2 to £3 in most areas. I know some councils are keeping it the same.
Yeah.
So you lost a little bit on the bus. So that's gone up minimum. Again, it's always a tough one. I don't think, for me personally, the minimum wage is the word minimum's in there. That's the key part of it, and it's the absolute least they can pay you. So again, it has gone up, and it has gone up. One of them 6% and a bit, I think, but. Again, I don't think anyone's rejoicing in the streets that their life's going to be incredibly easy based on that as well. But means our staff have all got a pay rise as well, doesn't it?
Very kind of you.
Well, yes, well, two of them are apprentices.
Back to
When Rick can show me his fully qualified certificates, I'll give him more than his £6.40 or whatever he's on. Okay, so that's not too bad. Okay, but they obviously kick with a bus fare. That's a shame because my kids used to like a £2 bus. Yours is free, isn't it?
It used to be in Newcastle. You used to get that. No, you're not going there.
Walk straight into it, though, didn't you? Okay.
I know where you're trying to go.
So with that in mind, that's some of the sort of key things they've taken from us or maybe given to us in the form of our expenses and all the rest of it for our apprentices and all the rest of it. When it comes to trying to save money through expenses, this is some things that are so obvious that even Rick's missing them. So we spoke to Rick earlier on and we spoke to Joe Hammond, who used to work for himself. It almost seemed like too much trouble to save any money. So if you're going to give me a guide in order to reduce my tax bill, which is not obviously can be used against anyone watching it, what are you going to suggest that we could do?
Okay, so a few areas that are not considered, or there are various options that are not considered. So number one would be travel costs, so in terms of using a vehicle for the purpose of your business. So if you buy a vehicle and that becomes an asset of the business, that is an allowable cost. If it's a commercial vehicle such as a van, the tax treatment is more advantageous because you can deduct the full cost of that van in the year in which that cost is incurred.
Right.
If it's a car, the benefits are not as advantageous. Now there is an option. You can either buy the vehicle and treat it as an asset of the business and then claim all the actual costs of running that vehicle. Or what you can do is you can reimburse yourself based on the mileage, based on the business miles that you do every year, at a rate of 45p per mile for the first 10,000 miles and 25p per mile thereafter.
So you're leasing it to yourself. Is that what you're really doing by doing that? So by giving yourself the mileage in reverse?
Kind of, yeah. So you are reimbursing effectively the cost of running that vehicle, of providing that vehicle to the business.
Okay. Obviously, people watching it, their circumstances are different. What is the most common of those two would you be recommending to people in practice?
It really depends on the circumstances. So if it's a more expensive van, it's usually advantageous for the business to buy it because the actual cost of the van can be deducted. Let's say it's a cheaper vehicle and it's a car, it's usually advantageous to claim a mileage because the cost of the car can't be claimed. And it's a much lower cost.
So if you buy a £30,000 van, because I don't know this, so £30,000 van, I don't pay tax on £30,000. So you save, say, the 20% of the 30,000 in tax.
Exactly. Yes.
Right. Okay. I got that. I didn't actually think I got that right. Actually. So okay. So it's not quite. So when you say you get, you
so
get it back in 1 year.
If you are thinking of purchasing a new vehicle, it's worth considering both options, working out which one is likely to give you more tax relief.
Be interested in the comments as well. See if people have chosen the 40p, 45p, and the 20 odd p, whatever it is, as an option. Which hasn't changed for years, has it, Gordon? When you were back with the old horse and cart, it was that, wasn't it? Dragging that around at 45.
They haven't, I mean, it's nobody ever mentions that, but the mileage rate have never changed, even though fuel costs are probably double.
Around.
It has been talked about a lot, but it still hasn't increased.
Oh, okay. Be interesting to see in the comments if anyone can come in and say they're doing the mileage rate.
If it's someone self-employed, they don't need to be registered company, but they've bought a van to use for their work. They obviously want to reclaim as much of those costs as possible off the tax return. So would you do that through the self-assessment tax return?
Correct, yes.
Yeah. and I'd suggest you probably need a good accountant to do that, because
Yeah.
it's very easy to make mistakes.
Gary, you're self-employed, aren't you?
I am
Do you buy your own vehicle?
I do buy my own vehicle.
So how's it work for you then? How has this gone out for you? How are you benefiting from buying your own vehicle? Are you offsetting that against tax and stuff like that? Or are you paying your 45p a mile?
I am offsetting against tax at the moment.
Right, okay.
Yeah,
So you're doing the first
I'm doing
option,
the
which is
first
the one
option,
that
yeah,
sounds
yeah.
the most common to me.
The most common option, yeah.
Right, okay.
And most of the people in my ilk will sort of do that as well.
And do you regularly change your vehicle?
Almost every couple of years.
Okay, right, okay.
Almost every 2 or 3 years, yeah.
Right, okay, yeah, makes sense, doesn't it? Is there could you change it every 6 months, or is there sort of some rules around this? You can't just keep chopping them in?
No,
and
you can change vehicle as often as you want or need to do. The only restriction is whichever method you choose, you have to continue using that method.
Oh, so once you've got one, you stick with it?
Yeah,
You can never change?
just for that vehicle.
Oh, for that vehicle. Right, okay, that
for
makes
that
sense.
vehicle,
Okay,
yeah,
I thought you meant, yeah. So, okay.
no.
All right.
There's a question on VAT coming in, but we will get to that. Making tax digital and VAT we will get to later on. I can tell people we're dead excited already on that one, but we didn't think it would be. But yeah, we are going to get back and have a good delve into VAT a little bit later on. Other things we can think
so
about reclaiming?
from our discussions, other expenses that have not been considered are tools. So if tools are used for the trade, then that would be an allowable expense. So they are used wholly and exclusively for the purpose of the business. So it might depend on the value of the tool. So low value tools will be deductible straight away from income as what's called revenue expenditure.
Right.
Higher value tools will be treated as an asset. However, capital allowances can be claimed, which is a deduction from profit.
Okay, so again,
Again, 100% of the value can generally be claimed for tools.
okay. So if I've purchased £1,000 of tools in
Yeah.
a year, I can likely just deduct that off my earnings.
Exactly, yes. Yeah.
In your self-assessment report.
Yes, depending if you're a sole trader via self-assessment, if you're a company, it'll be deducted in your accounts and then go onto your corporation tax return.
Right. I mean, it'd be interesting to know anyone in the comments who is self-employed, whether they're making sure they're actually doing that, is deducting the tools and other bits and pieces from the tax return.
Again, yeah, the feeling would be nice because everything's too much trouble sometimes. I'll just chuck these in the basket when I'm getting in the wholesale and I'll just pick this up and it just gets sort of, wow, I'll put it on the job and things like that. Well, actually, yeah, you have, but you could still get your tools back through the system. So, yeah, it would be interesting to see if people are more lax or whether they're red hot at it. I'd imagine if you're one or the other, won't you? You'll be the sort of person that's absolutely on everything or maybe a little bit more laid back. I would.
Do you ever reclaim cost of tools? Well, you probably used to borrow them from the stores of the East Midlands Electricity Board, didn't you?
I actually had a guy who worked in the stores come to be taught by me once in the evening, and I got re-access to all the tools in there, and that was brilliant. He brought me stuff in. They were always the orange pliers and side cutters. I can never remember what they were for manufacturer.
Boddingtons, was it?
They were Boddingtons. That's it. Yeah.
You used to write out a fake invoice as well to put in for your tax return.
No. I didn't know about it.
All right.
But yeah, so that's it's all good. Right. Okay. So
We've got a good question. Training. Is the cost of training courses tax deductible?
If the training course is, again, wholly and exclusively for the purpose of your trade, yes, it is an allowable cost.
Right, there you go. That can be quite a big saving, that, because if you've done the solar course, you could be spending £300, £400, £500 on that, actually. So it's But obviously, if it's paid for by your employer, they'd gather the.
Yes, it would be a cost to them. Yes.
And again, that's saving the amount. So it's 400 quid. You save the tax on 400 quid. Yes,
exactly.
Okay,
yes,
right. Okay, yeah, you don't get the 400 quid back effectively on the training. Okay, that's good. Any others coming in there, Gordon? While I think about the next one.
When is the lower tax rate being increased? 2026.
Yes.
Is it?
The threshold, you mean? They are moving, the threshold moves again 27, 28 or 26, 27. You know, they froze the 12,570. I think it's on the move, isn't it, again? They've unfrozen it.
Yeah, I think it was 2028 they've
was it 28?
unfrozen it from.
Yeah, okay. Which is, was it physical drag on it is just horrendous, isn't it?
Yeah.
I watched a lot of programmes. I'm so excited.
Yeah,
First time ever, I watched loads of programmes about retiring.
Thresholds are not keeping up.
And
keeping
every
pace with
time they put
inflation.
that disclaimer on it, we've done it on one of ours now. This is not financial advice. Yeah, it's just my opinion. Yeah.
Right. And then another one, and professional registration. Can you deduct tax for that?
So yeah, any professional subscriptions or trade subscriptions, again, that are wholly and exclusively for the purpose of your trade, are allowable costs.
Gymnasiums wouldn't count, would they?
Probably not, unless you're a physical trainer, for example.
Like the way you dodge that one.
PT.
Yeah. No, but you can't just randomly slam things in because you're feeling I needed to get in better shape to do my job. Is not an excuse to have for a gym membership. Is that what we're saying?
No, because it would not be exclusive to your trade. You would be doing it for other reasons.
Yeah. So I would say if you're an IET member and you pay that membership fee every year, pay it for a long time, or you've got a JIB gold card or something like that, then that is something that is taxed. That's not an Amex gold card, Gary. That's a JIB gold card.
Yeah, you don't flash it around, get your restaurants. Okay, so I didn't think of that one. I bet people miss that one out, don't they? They register that JIB card and think, oh, it's only X, and just give the money back, don't they?
Yeah.
They'll have it back. Is there one about washing your clothes? That always used to be a bit of a myth. Is there, if you wash your clothes for work?
There is an allowance, yes, as well.
Is there really? I thought that was a myth.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Okay.
Right. So you can claim washing. How do you do that though? If you're doing it at home, I mean, it's like, I
bet there's a cap on it, and there's only a certain amount of money you can claim, is there?
I think there's a flat rate, yes. I don't know if
claim that one, Gary?
I didn't know about that one actually, washing my clothes, no.
Yeah, no. So, yeah.
It's hard to wash a suit though.
We wouldn't know you own one.
Well, too busy doing the electrics.
You were. So, okay, all right, so there is the washing the clothes one.
Another cost or area of cost that sometimes is overlooked is if somebody buys some computer equipment, say a laptop or printer for use in their business.
Large monitor, flat screen one, 64-inch.
Well, that might be a little bit dubious, but...
I tell you, when you're multi-screening, that's what you need, isn't it?
Yeah, if you're struggling with your eyesight, perhaps.
And how often can you change these electronically without flagging up? Because I've just got a friend. Let's think of my friend here, right? And I'm asking, because it says in here, you can ask a question for a friend. I've got a friend that has himself a significant other and 2 significant smaller people in the house, right?
might help with the business from time to time, do they?
Let's say they do, okay. And there's a rotor on, say, let's just pick something random, iPhones, okay, that they actually change. So it looks maybe on paper that the owner of the business has a new iPhone every year, but probably only has one in 4-year cycles. Is that a good idea?
Well, there's no hard and fast rule, but I think that might invite some attention.
So I need to bring this up with my friend?
Potentially, yes, yeah.
Right, okay. I'll let my friend know that that's not a good idea.
Maybe we should change to Samsung then.
I've been doing that a while. Yeah, okay, so all right, I'll let him know that that's not a good idea. All right, okay, that's a worry.
But I'll probably want most people have got a laptop. They probably initially bought it thinking, I just use a laptop anyway. But I'm sort of using it for business now.
If the original intention was to buy it for business purposes, and then there happened to be some incidental personal use, that would generally be okay.
Yeah.
Same friend might have bought laptops in consecutive years. Would that look a bit red flaggy as well?
I suppose said friend would need to have some justification as to why the business would require multiple...
And a large 90-inch monitor.
No, he hasn't got one. I mean, my friend thought that would be a flag.
Right.
Right, okay. I'll let Surf. How long do they last before they dig back? Is it 6 years?
6 years? 6 years, yes.
Yeah. I nearly swore for the first time on the live stream. Okay, I imagine we need to move on.
From HFC in the Sharnbrook area of Bedfordshire.
Yeah, I'm not in. I mostly live in Skipton. You'll find me there. Right, okay, so you've got to be careful then on cycling stuff in and out. You've got to have a realistic time of cycling. So, yeah, an iPad every year is not a good idea. A laptop's not good every year. iPhone's not good every year.
Unless you got very unlucky with iPhones or laptops breaking.
My friend's not very lucky. No. Okay.
But that's good. But if someone buys something that genuinely is used for business,
exactly,
most of the time, by one person at a time, then they can probably, that's probably something that people are overlooking. And are mobile phones legit in that term as well?
Yes, absolutely. Yes, yeah.
Okay. And then what if I was to sell that mobile phone? What if a friend then sold the mobile phone?
Well, that would be income for the business then, effectively.
Right.
He did that.
Yeah.
He put his receipt in. Twice he's done it.
Yeah.
So I sold a phone to another business.
Yeah, so some of that tax relief that you originally obtained will be clawed back effectively.
It was. Honest person.
Yeah.
See that? Might be buying a iPhone every year, but he's flogging the old ones. Whew, can we move on? Okay, moving on quickly.
There we go. Someone said that might invite some attention. It's a classic accounting phrase. So someone's clearly got an accountant, and I would say getting a good accountant is always usually a sensible investment.
That's a key part of the trading, that phrase.
And if you're claiming for food, they suggest you should be more than 5 miles from home as well. Is that an unwritten rule, or is that sort of a rule?
I'm not sure if it's a written hard and fast rule, but generally speaking, yeah, you would need to be travelling away from home to claim subsistence costs.
Right, okay.
Such as food, yeah.
Oh, I fell foul of that one as well. I mean, my friend fell foul of that one as well. Yeah. Ah, that friend of mine. What about places at home? Because obviously this friend's also got a desk somewhere positioned around the house. Obviously was that allowed?
Yeah. So it is possible to claim for use of home as office costs. So that can be done in two ways. So there is a flat rate, which HMRC won't challenge the amount per se, based on the number of hours you spend using your home for work purposes.
And that's just a flat one number. Do you know that number?
Yeah. Not from memory. There are several different rates based on the number of hours. So there are bands of hours.
Right. Okay.
So if you spend 0 to 10 hours, it's X amount, and so on and so forth. The other method is if you have part of your house that you use for business or is available to be used for the business a certain percentage of the time, you can take your total household costs and then multiply that by that percentage, that based on the size of that area of the house and how much time it's available to be used for business.
So my friend, whose whole house, they live in one very small box room that looks remarkably like it would make a great office, but that's where they live for most of the time. The rest of the house is actually used as his office. It's huge, this office. That wouldn't be a good idea either, would it?
If the rest of the house is only used for business purposes and never used for anything else, then there is a potential pitfall in that if they sell their house and make a capital gain on the sale of the house, that part that's used only for business could be excluded from capital gains tax relief, so the principal private residence relief, meaning they may pay capital gains tax when they sell their house. So there is a risk to...
Very expensive sale then.
Right, let's just change the subject matter. Have you got an office at home, Gary?
I've got a small office at home,
Do you
yes.
claim anything for your small office?
I can claim all my electricity and things like that.
And you do you?
I do that, yeah.
Yeah, okay, so you probably use the one that's the flat rate, do you? That's the safest
that's right,
one.
yeah.
Do you know what that flat rate is?
I'm not entirely sure off the top of my head, but that's all I would claim was the electrics. For say, and it's got to be a certain proportion of the week as well, what you would spend in that office. So you're probably talking 6 or 7 hours a day, something like that.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
okay.
so that's the method to actually apportion use of the house based on the actual costs.
Okay.
Rather than the flat rates. Yeah.
Questions, Gordon, coming in?
There is. We'll pick up some of them later on as well. So, but there's people who've just joined. It's probably worth watching from the start because you've probably missed some good advice. We're going to take a little break and pop over to somewhere we haven't been to for ages.
All right.
Yep. I'm not on about the toilet, Gary. You're there all the time. It is Regulation Corner.
Oh, hello. I didn't see you there. Welcome to Regulation Corner. Take a seat, get comfortable, maybe pour yourself a drink. It's been a while since you stopped by, and as with all things in the ancient and ever-flowing stream of time, things have certainly changed over the last couple of years, and as is often the case, you find us in reflective mood. Musing on the nature of time and how it flows put me in mind of other things that do the same. Water, of course, natural gas for another. Naturally, we'll leave those to the lead botherers. But what about that most fundamental of mediums, the air we breathe? As it flows out of houses through ductwork and pipes, it experiences turbulence, just as we all do when being buffeted about through the flexible duct of struggle. And of course, this is reflected in the maelstrom of emotion we experience when dealing with rules and regulations, specifically building regulations. Even more specifically, Part F on ventilation. This innocent, unassuming looking document seemed to have caused more furore in recent weeks than any other, leading to the frequently aired comment that installing extractor fans is not notifiable work. The solution, as always, is to let regulation speak for itself. So let's turn to Approved Document F, Volume 1, Dwellings. Let's read the intention for Requirement F12 and Regulations 39, 42 and 44 and allow the author's mellifluous tones to lead us to the conclusion that we seek. In the Secretary of State's view, Requirement F12 and Regulation 44 are met if building work that involves installing a mechanical ventilation system for a new or an existing dwelling follows the guidance in paragraphs 4.1 to 4.12 to achieve all of the following. We'll skip to indent D. the person carrying out the work gives notice to the building control body that commissioning has been carried out following the procedure given in this document. But as a caveat, in the interest of balance and because frankly, what's life without a little spice, let's read paragraph 3.32 under the heading Refurbishing a kitchen or bathroom in an existing dwelling. Here the author takes a more reasonable, you could almost say raffish tone. If an extractor fan or cooker hood is replaced and it uses the existing cabling, this does not need to be notified to a building control body. See section 1A of schedule 4 to the building regulations. And so, dear viewer, let us know in the commentarium, do you find yourself bemused, perplexed, incandescent with rage? If you replace a fan like for like, are you in the clear? What if the existing fan is 20 years old and you replace it with a different model? Will you still feel the sweet breath of fresh air on your conscience if you don't notify? Or will you burn with shame like the fire caused by a clogged and unmaintained extractor fan motor? Ah, the eternal question. 'Twas ever thus. I won't keep you any longer. Thanks for stopping by. And the next time you're passing, drop in, say hello. You know there's always a place for you here at Regulation Corner. Good night.
Fantastic to have Joe back in Regulation Corner, and I'm more concerned maybe about his sugar intake, because that wasn't red wine. Imagine drinking neat Ribena. I'd imagine, in our day, you wouldn't have had a set of teeth left after, they would have dissolved. They've taken that sugar out over the years, but and keeps you awake at night, I would suggest, young man. So, not red wine, full strength.
There are some great questions coming in. I really want to dive into the company who's got the pool table and everything else who on the tax return. We'll get back to that a little later on as we touch on VAT, but we're going to shift the tone slightly towards the other topic, Gary. That's insurance, isn't it?
Absolutely. And we've had some great conversations off, and you've brought a lot of good things to light for me that actually, the sooner you do it, the better. Can start and layer the stories. We've talked about it earlier, Gary, and talk about some of the insurances you think will benefit people working in the construction. We're obviously mostly electricians watching.
Sure. So for some of your younger electricians who are just starting out in the business, they're single, they may have just bought their first home, or they may be renting for the first time, they're on a good income.
Yeah.
What they're really going to need more than anything, there are 3 types of cover: income protection, critical illness, life insurance.
Okay.
It's priorities. So what your younger electricians are really going to need is income protection.
Right.
Can you imagine they've got all these bills to pay, they're happy, they're in a new home, everything's going well, all of a sudden they have an accident, an injury, an illness, no income. But these bills still need to be paid. The mortgage needs to be paid, the rent needs to be paid, the council tax, everything still needs to be paid. So you really need something in place that's going to replace that income, whether it be short or the long term.
Yeah, and that makes real logical sense now, because I would imagine, again, I'd love the comments coming in. If you're in that position, that early 20-year-old electrician, what's the chance of a company giving you 6 months, full pay and 6 months half pay? You might find you straight onto the statutory sick pay.
Statutory sick pay.
And I don't know whether it was still available.
Well, if you can survive on £116 a week for 28 weeks, then fine. Yeah. But unfortunately, it's not the 1970s anymore. We don't get 3 and 6 months pay. In fact, really, most companies won't give you any sick pay at all.
Right.
Very surprising, and it's surprising how many people are unaware of how much sick pay that they're not going to get.
And you tend to think you're pretty bulletproof when you're in your early 20s.
Well, when you're in your early 20s, you do think you are bulletproof, and you think it will always happen to somebody else. You think you're infallible, you can do whatever you want. Unfortunately, if the worst does come to the worst, it's too late to do anything about it then.
Yeah, okay, so I'm going to get straight in, because this is what people want to hear. Everyone dodges this one. Let's say we're on about £4,000. Let's say £4,000 a month. So we're at 40 to 50 grand a year. So £4,000 a month. And I'm in my early 20s. Just again, we're not going to hold you to the number. What sort of rough idea would this critical?
Well, if you're on about 50 grand a year, you can claim roughly around 65% of your gross salary.
Yep.
And the most common policies will defer it for a month, so you live off a couple of savings for a month, because the earlier you do, the more expensive it is.
Yep.
And then so you get that 65% for, say, 2 years, right, and income paid after 2 years. That will only cost you it's about £15, £20 a month. That's all it'll cost you.
Wow. Were you expecting that low?
No. I always thought it was more than that.
One coffee a week.
I mean, it's a couple of Costa coffees, and that it is very, very inexpensive.
There are other coffee brands available.
So is that gross salary? So you're saying
so realistically, if you're on 50 grand, you probably get around £2,500 a month would be paid to you, and you can do it for a year, 2 years. You can do it to retire, but that's a bit more expensive. Right. Most commonly, it's done for 2 years, but for £15 a month, and you know that something happens to you after a month, that salary will kick in.
Right. Is that taxed? If you've got to pay out on the insurance?
No, that won't be taxed, no.
All right, okay. So that's why it's done on there.
Because you've already paid
tax.
Yeah.
Right.
All right, okay. I'm in now. However, okay, let's say I start that off. Is there any benefits of starting that off in your 20s compared to maybe your 30s or 40s?
Well, you should start that off. It's going to be cheaper. The earlier you do any policy, the cheaper it's going to be.
Yeah, but it always goes up.
Well, no, because if you do that income protection policy, you say, I want to take this out till I'm 65, those premiums will stay the same.
Whoa.
They will stay the same.
So if I paid 15, 20 quid...
That's what you will pay for the next, whenever you do 20, 30 years, that's all.
But that would be based on the salary you earned at 20, would it?
Yeah, so it's always based on the salary. So if you're on, for example, 50 grand,
yes,
when you come to claim, you have to be earning 50 grand. You can't then go down to 20 grand and claim £2,500 a month. But if your salary stays the same...
What if it goes up?
If it goes up, then you can take a policy to increase it as well.
Right, so they do that sort of sliding one. So as you go up,
you can do that, yeah. But you don't have to do it on 65%. Some people might say, do you know what, I'm not going to need £2.5 grand because I'm not going to go on out my social life. I just want to pay maybe my mortgage or the rent or some bills. You may just do, I'll just do £1,200. You don't have to do the 65%. And in that case, the policy will be even cheaper.
But it's no money.
It's nothing at all.
Do people not realise this?
No, they don't realise because most of them don't know about income protection for a start.
Okay, if this is all news to you, okay, and you're now thinking, oh, look, we've got a link in the description, haven't we? We have got a link in the description. It sends you to a landing page which has got some more information. So as we're going through these, you might say to yourself, why don't I recommend this to the young electrician I've taken on? I've clearly not given them sick pay or whatever. And if they do have an accident, we're spending a lot more time on scaffold, on roofs, sliding around now, and you don't really want to have a moment, do you, than we had before.
And does that cover if you're self-employed as well?
So if you're self-employed, you can do it, yeah, as long as you can prove that income, then that's fine, yeah.
Right.
As long as you're self-employed, yeah, you show that by tax returns.
Yeah, you'd obviously remove the fact you'd put a lot of iPhones and stuff like that through it.
You keep the iPhones out of it, yeah, then they don't care anyway.
Yeah.
but then let's flick this a little bit back, which we didn't do early on. If I'm only paying myself 12,570 quid and then dividends, is it only on your salary?
No, it'll be on your salary. It's only what you're actually claiming.
Not dividends.
Yeah.
Ooh, yeah, and you've got to be careful, haven't you? So you've got to pay yourself a realistic wage, which is that young electrician working for someone.
Yeah, that's based really for the employee. Yeah.
Okay. I think that's great. You want to know that. You know, I got offered when I was 16 years old a policy. I did a policy for physiotherapy. And I was the only person who took it. Boy, did I rinse that. I wrecked my back, and I rinsed every penny out of that as I went through. It was the best money I ever spent.
Wrecking your back just to claim on your policy.
No, but I still wrecked my back. I still wrecked my back. I would have had to rinse my bank account, wouldn't I? Which I did do as well. But yeah, okay. So that's the first one, income protection. Would you recommend it for somebody in their 50s?
They can get it. It's going to be more expensive in the 50s. I think you can take it out, but it's going to be a lot more expensive.
Is that due to the fact
it's based on age as well, and it's based on health, age.
Right. Okay.
So most commonly you'll do it sort of between sort of 45 to 50 is probably the oldest people will start doing it. Yeah.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Okay. So that's income protection. Was that one?
That's income protection.
Yeah. All right. Give us the next one I should be considering.
Well, again, if you're single and your priority of that is right.
Being single a lot of times, yeah. Okay.
Well, no dependents. Let's go. No dependents.
Current Mrs. Hayes is on tonight, so perhaps we've got some news from Gary.
Gary's going to pass some news on at the end of this. You are single, Gary.
I'm married with 2 children.
No, I'm Gary as well. Remember, we're both Gary. So just a different joke. You wanted to get it out there. Go and talk about your lovely wife.
My lovely wife, Kim. She's a fantastic wife. How she puts up with me, I don't know.
We don't either.
No, because I do all the wiring in the place as well, so it's an absolute nightmare.
Oh, you put some smoke detectors in first. That's the first thing she's going to need. Right,
that's the house we used to have.
Yeah, next one then. So what are we going for next? What's the next layer up?
Serious illness or critical illness, as most people know.
See, I would have thought life insurance. Okay, it's critical.
Well, again, depending, it's all about options if you've got dependents or not. If you have no dependents,
right,
and again, you've got the bills to pay, you've got your mortgage, your council tax, all this to pay, you need to live a lifestyle, but then you get a serious illness like, it could be cancer, leukemia, heart attack. The last thing you need if you get a heart attack is having the financial strain of having no money to replace that income. The difference between income protection is that pays out monthly. Critical illness will pay out a lump sum for that illness that you've got.
Right, and going to be really tough now. You could survive this, though, could you?
Yeah, you can survive it. Yeah.
Right, okay, okay.
You
so
can be back. Technically, you'll be back at work in a couple of months.
So I could get a form of cancer.
You could get it's
less aggressive. You get over it. Would you still
type
get
of
paid
cancer. It depends on the type of cancer there
Right.
is. There are underwriting restrictions. It depends on the cancer you get.
Okay, depends on the amount of money they'll pay out.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, so obviously, if it's one that's going to shorten your life,
Well, if you had, I mean, if you had something like skin cancer that wasn't so severe, then it'd be maybe less of a payout.
okay.
Yeah.
Could you give us an example? Again, we're not going to hold it to it. Let's say I've got something I'm going to survive it. Give us an example of what the payout could be in a one lumper.
The payout can be anything you want it to be. The payout can be £1 million if you're prepared to pay for it.
And what the people insuring themselves on 10 grand, 20 grand?
No. So again, it depends because serious illness is more expensive than life insurance and income protection.
Right.
So you're talking someone in their early 30s for 60, 70,000 pounds worth of cover. You could be talking 40, 50 pounds a month.
£10 a week.
All this is subject to underwriting, but yeah, again, it's not that expensive for what you're getting back. Because if you've got a serious illness, there may be medical bills to pay. You may have to do something to the house, renovate the house to suit the illness that you've got.
Yeah.
And that provides a financial buffer to carry on. Because as I say, if you do get this illness, you're not well, you need to recuperate. You need money coming in.
Right.
But you've got no income. So you need something to replace that.
Okay. Yeah. We want to try.
And actually, serious illness, I mean, it's projected that 1 in 2 people in the UK in the future will be diagnosed with some form of cancer. And at the moment, there's probably 7.5 million adults in the UK who have some sort of heart or circulatory disease. Okay. So the odds of getting it are actually quite high.
And again, the earlier you buy this cover...
So any cover that you take out, it's cheaper, subject to underwriting, and you're fit and healthy, it's cheaper the younger you are.
Yeah. Which makes... So if you use that, just let's make it nuts and bolts maths. If 1 in 2 of us are getting, cancer, okay, and you're 25 and working for yourself, you've got reasonable income coming in, and you want to put yourself into that position, your odds are 50% of maybe one day cashing out on that.
Quite possibly.
Yeah, if we're going to use it.
The way
I
things
know
go,
people can do it after working life, but if you want to look on the odd side, you're actually, you're backing yourself because you're going to get, wherever you're going to be, but you just want a bit of insurance policy there.
And does that policy change with age? If I took it out when you're younger?
The premiums will stay the same.
Yeah.
I can't get over that. So the sooner you get on it, the
That's
better.
why it's best to do these things early.
Yeah. It's a shame you can't get into, I know it's more, but to FE colleges, those 4th-year apprentices, or when they're leaving their AM2, to have a little package with it in, just to say, this is a good idea.
That's a good idea.
Yeah, we do. What's kind of get a little side touch. My friend with the iPhone might have a tax problem.
Your friend
coming
with
up.
the you rang me before your friend with the iPhone about this.
Yeah, and he's multiple laptops in 2 years. Okay, so that's critical. Now the one we're all used to, life. You got any life insurance?
Yes.
Yes, me too. I've got life insurance as well. So most people have got life insurance.
They have got, but have they got enough life insurance? That's always the $1 million question. How much life insurance does somebody need? They got to cover, especially you have a family, you've got a couple of young kids.
So we're now levelled up then. So once we start thinking about life, in the first 2 we could argue were the minute you're a single contracting electrician with a bit of spare cash, you should consider those. Life insurance is when you've got other people.
When you've got dependents.
Yeah, okay.
In which you need a form of all 3, but you do need life insurance then, yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Got life insurance?
No.
Let's come back to you. Let's turn the cannons this way. So, Mr. Sensible over here. So, why have you not got any life insurance? You don't live at home with mum and dad, do you?
No, but I do live at home on my own. So
Right. Okay. Oh.
So currently, there's only my dog that would benefit, I suppose.
Okay, I like that. Yeah, that's yeah.
But although he's got no dependents, the reason you may get it is again because it's cheaper while you're younger. So if you look to the future and think, I may have a family in the future, I can afford it now, take the policy out now.
Right.
Because you may think I'll do it in a couple of years' time, but something might happen to you in these couple of years. You may get some sort of illness or something. So when you do your life insurance, they might say no, because something's happened to you, or it's going to be a lot more expensive.
You insured the dog?
He's insured, yeah.
Any typical, isn't it? Any typical, yeah? Insured the dog and not yourself.
So the
What
dog,
are the chances?
yeah, the dog's won a lot, but he hasn't.
Could care less about myself as long as the dog's all right. I like it.
And
You
pet
sure?
insurance is more than the numbers you're talking about. I can tell you that. don't you?
Well,
think
there's
his
people who pay
insurance
60,
actually is
70
more,
pounds a month for pet insurance and stuff, but they won't insure their own family.
No, that's a good one. That's a good segue, that was, wasn't it? Yeah. Well, if only we had a living witness there to suggest they didn't insure themselves, but the dog. How much is your dog insurance?
I think it's about £30 a month now.
Better than I did, yeah.
It was cheaper, but I had to claim because he fractured a tooth, which was an expensive accident.
They all send down 4 different cameras and tablets before they just extract the tooth, don't they? They've always got a way
The postman is well on the road to recovery from the snap tooth that went turned septic in his leg.
With a family with life insurance, it's a must.
Do you do a bundle? I don't know whether you do. Do you do a bundle if I took all 3?
Yeah, I mean, an insurer will do like a little bundle for you, like a discount on a premium if you package it all together.
Right, okay.
With the provider, yeah. But the life insurance itself, I mean, it's so important because not a very nice fact that 127 children a day will lose a parent.
You are a fun sponge, aren't you?
That's it, yeah. I mean, imagine I could support Man United, what bad that would be. That's a fact, yeah. So
I thought you were going to say that 100% of people do not make it, because obviously we don't. I thought that's where you were going. Then you went 127. So I was like, all right, okay.
No,
that's not good, is it? That leave
No.
the children. But again, that could be somebody in their 70s leaving somebody in their 50s. Yes.
it could be, but they could have taken that policy out many, many years ago. Right. See, and you take out when it's £25 a month, for example, you got that policy for life. That's not a lot of money to leave a legacy for for the family.
No, or the dog.
Or the dog in his case, yeah.
I'm sure most people have got life insurance, but again, if you've got income protection or critical illness, can you put it in the comments for us, just to say that you've picked one of those 2, or you've only got the life insurance, just to give us a
flavour of insured your dog?
Yeah.
And for the life insurance, how much life insurance have you actually got, and why have you got a certain amount of life insurance? Yeah.
Yeah, it's one of them, innit? I've got the first house. I got life insurance on the first house, but I've never had any additional.
Well, you can have it on the house, but that's fine. The house is paid off. Still got to live. You've got to survive.
Yeah. Used to be. Yeah, and which is in the description, isn't it? So our website's in there, isn't it?
It is. No, I mean, there is, in the description. You've got tons of obviously, advice on insurance.
Yeah.
But I say for Access Financial Services, it is in there. We're going to be. I think there's quite a few people in this room are going to be diving into that website in the next few days.
Everybody's different, so the conversation with each person is totally different.
Yeah. Yeah. Now, so obviously, people have said there. Obviously, you can't get insurance if you're already ill.
Well, exactly. So too late.
Yeah. So it's obviously, a lot of people take out, think they'll put a burglar alarm on the house when it's been cleaned out, isn't it? Statistically, you're best getting it in advance.
Do it while you're healthy, cheap and healthy,
Yeah, absolutely. And we mentioned it earlier, have you seen an uptick since COVID?
Since COVID, especially on the income protection, because people have realised, although they were being paid furlough, thinking, if furlough didn't exist, what would I do?
Right.
Panic stations.
Right.
So they want to make sure at least, really, as a family, you should have a mixture of all 3. As to say, younger people, the serious illness and the income protection. Yeah, but since COVID, business has really gone through the roof because people... It sometimes takes something like that's happened for people to realise, actually, I do need this. People may come to me and say, something's happened to so-and-so down the road. It's a bit of an eye-opener for them.
Yeah. How many times do we hear, don't you, electrician falls off a pair of steps, breaks their leg, and they've got 6 to 8 weeks off work and they don't know what they're going to do.
I see a lot of time. I mean, there's people, I'm not going to name them on the stream, but you've seen people have heart attacks. You've seen people, broken leg. I mean, if anyone listens to our electrical news every week, I mean, it's not a week goes by where we're not injuring someone or someone's fallen off this, fallen off that.
You talk about that as well, sorry, and that there are actually policies out there. So if you are a tradesperson, and income protection for your average tradesperson, because it's deemed as a dangerous job, believe it, because you're working at heights and things like that, there are other policies out there. If you do have an accident, you're up a ladder. If you're as good an electrician as I am, there won't be a problem. But if you're up a ladder and something happens, and you have a fall, then there are policies that will make you a payout. For example, someone fell off a ladder, broke a couple of spinal fractures, 4 ribs, and they got a payout with 20 days in hospital for £18,000, and that was costing them £30 a month, £1 a day.
Right.
And there's no underwriting on that from day one. But that's like a financial buffer again if something happens. If you're playing a lot of sports, if you're a tradesperson, that's also a good thing to have as well as the others.
Oh, right on. So I do sport. So Yeah, we go to the gym regularly, not the same one. Obviously, I'll go a lot more often than you.
He's outside, you're inside.
So you're in your early 20s, okay, and you started off and you get a policy, but you're playing football still on a Saturday and Sunday twice a week, or playing five-a-side with your mates, or Rick playing five-a-side when he was really old, and you slip and hurt yourself, and that still counts. Don't have to be at work.
No, it's nothing to do with being at work.
Oh, right. No. That's good, isn't it? So you have a car
Specifically
accident,
for people who play sports, and that could be like karate, it includes boxing, people who go skiing. It's any sport like that at all.
right?
Yeah. And this premium start from around £10 up to £40, and obviously the bigger the payout, the more premiums you pay. But again, it's inexpensive for what you get back from it.
Yeah, it's not a lot of money, is it?
No,
People
not
pay
at all.
more for a streaming service than they would for that one.
Yeah.
Or a gym they don't go to, as often as they could. It's open 7 days a week, your gym. You'll get more benefit. Those rest days are mythical, those rest days.
I'll have to catch up to you, Gary.
You will. When you get to 7 days like I am, you'll see the benefit.
Well, if me and you got
It'll take you a while to see it, but
we
you'll
went
get
to
there,
call risk days, not rest days.
yeah, absolutely. Any great questions coming in, Gordon? You're staring at the screen like there's going to be hundreds of great questions.
That's beautiful, wasn't it? Mark Allison, interesting. Every time my annual policy statement lands, I can see my wife pricing up how much I need, both eyes and all my fingers. So there we go. Someone had critical illness cover for 30 years, then it was handed over to another company who discontinued the policy. Is that?
They shouldn't really do that, no.
Right.
I mean,
There we go.
that may be a company that went out of business.
Right.
But that's not the norm, no.
But you're better off owning your own policy, isn't it? You're taking your own into, why trust somebody else, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I'd be doing.
But touching, if you looking at life insurance policies, if you have a limited company, you're the owner or director of a limited company, and a policy would cost you, say, normally £100.
Yeah.
If you put that through the business,
Yeah.
i.e. the business pays the premiums, you're the life assured and the beneficiaries are the same, because it's an allowable business expense, then you can claim up to 49% back on that. So that £100 will only cost you maybe around £50.
There's no excuse, is there? And is that
Anybody who owns a limited company should really go that way.
I'll defer to Gary there, as he's the expert in that.
yeah. Is it allowed? Is that allowed? Yeah. So 49%.
Yeah, HMRC recognise it, yeah.
Oh, it's just
yeah,
most
so
of
if
people on this will be limited companies, won't they? 12.5 grand, 12,570 quid.
Yeah.
Get your money back again. So we could have had that in list earlier on. So you didn't come up with that one, did you? Sure, your life.
And you can have that policy for your fellow directors, you can have it for the employees as well. It's like an incentive to keep us
There's
there.
not so much incentive for that. We'll go with the first one.
You keep that one then, yeah. I'm just letting you know what's out there.
Just, yeah.
Well, your friend thought it was a good idea
Yeah, I bet he did.
when I bought that phone off him.
He's a good lad, he was. He was a good lad. Right, OK, there's a lot to unpack there. Shall we have a little, just another fraction of a break while you go through the questions and we see what Joe Hammond's given away today?
Yes, we can actually, yeah. To lift the mood, Gary. I mean, perhaps you can win a holiday. But I would say, if you want to depress yourself again, check out the link in the description, obviously, for Access Financial Insurance. And, so keep firing in any insurance-related questions you have.
Yeah, because that's where we're going next, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, well, hopefully next, Gary.
We're going on
a
holiday.
European mini break.
Yeah.
Are you dreaming of a city break? Perhaps a driver experience in a Porsche? Perhaps you're in need of a new smart TV? Well, BG has the competition for you. By purchasing any product from the BG Fortress range, you're in with a chance to win an exciting city break and other fantastic prizes. Whether it's a consumer unit, EV circuit protection or industrial switches, hang on to that receipt to be in with a chance for the break of a lifetime. Don't miss out. Closing date is the 10th of December 2024, so not much time. Visit the BG Win website to learn more and secure your spot in the draw today.
Just great, isn't it? Just win stuff. And what's the easiest way of winning stuff, Gordon?
Is normally to enter.
Absolutely.
It's amazing how many competitions we do. People, I'll never win. And then you say, well, did you enter? Well, there you go. And there is a link between entering and winning.
That's why I haven't won the lottery.
Well, there you go. You don't do it. I think some people say there's more chance of winning if you don't actually do it. There you go. That's just an urban myth, like insurance. But,
OK, well, let's
do that. No, if you're buying BG boards, so it is on the BG consumer units, some of the isolators as well. But yeah, all you have to do is just upload your thing. Again, there's a link in the when you finish with insurance, click on the next link in the description, and you can go and enter the BG one. I don't know if you can backdate it. I don't know if they didn't say it. I'd have to check the terms and conditions if it's got to be in the window. But you've got a few more weeks on that one.
But how easy is that? Just get your receipt, do the thing, click, clunk, you're in with a chance.
Yeah.
But there's not just that prize, the city breaks. There are other great prizes as well that can be won. So it's not just one takes all. Be interesting to see, because lots of people have been doing it. We went to Ireland, obviously, with Robus, and we've been to Italy with Luden. So, yeah, another chance to go away again. Fantastic, isn't it?
And here's just a general insurance question. People will sneak this one in before we move on back onto VAT. Would Gary qualify for cheaper insurance premiums based on his new body weight? Or is it inevitable decay caused by age that's the biggest factor?
Well, thank you for that beautifully put question. No, if I took the policy out how many years ago, whatever happens to me weight-wise or whatever is irrelevant. Doesn't matter.
Right.
If I was to take the policy out now, a lot of it is based on your BMI. As I said before, as long as you're smaller than a big plane, you shouldn't be too bad. So, it's so height and weight is quite important when you're actually taking out a policy, and obviously smoking. If you're a smoker,
is that going to cause me a problem?
The premiums are usually doubled than a non-smoker.
I don't smoke, but yeah, that's good.
And to be classed as a non-smoker, you have to be, and this includes vapes, by the way.
Yeah.
You have to have not smoked for a year.
Right.
So if you're paying smokers' premiums after you can get them reduced.
Right, all right, so you can go back.
You have to be clean for it, but you get them. You won't get them back later, but you get them reduced from when you stop smoking.
I've got a friend that likes to drink. Is that going to
Okay.
Is that a problem?
Well, I had a drink with him before, and well, again, it depends how much you drink.
But you only said smoking. You didn't mention drinking. Will they do some sort of drink test?
No, they won't do a drink test.
Yeah, friend's happy. Yeah, that's good. So I've imagined this friend. Look at this. Body mass index is looking brilliant. Lost 4 stone. I have.
Well, but you're fine. Then you're the perfect specimen.
I do take a few tablets, though. Is that going to cause me a problem?
Depends what sorts of tablets they are.
Well, they're not the blue ones Hammond's just got. I mean, that's another story. Hammond's got himself a set of blue tablets, and he's been very proud to show those off.
I've been worried, though, Gary. It's like,
he's been popping them all day, and he's like,
he has, and he was getting a little bit too excited earlier on, and I didn't like the
lots of blood in the head area. I wonder where that came from. Oh, okay. So
hand on swollen
I
guns
think that's
all
a
day.
good segue into VAT. Okay, so this will calm everybody down in the audience. We're going back to VAT. We get it asked as one of the most common questions we get asked, and one that we can't really always give them that actual definitive answer. Remember, this is only guidance and not financial advice. But the first thing, what's the threshold at which we have to start considering VAT?
So your threshold is £90,000.
I always thought it was 80. Did
I
get
thought
that
it was
right?
85.
Oh, right, okay, so between, so it's 90. Is that a new thing, or we missed it?
No, it's been 90 for quite a while now. It was 85 before. Yes.
Right, okay.
So that's not.
And that's for a 12-month rolling period. So a common error is that people think that is their financial year or a calendar year or the tax year, but it's actually any 12-month rolling period.
Right. So say I've been taken along for a few years at 60,000. That suddenly have a big lightning strike project lands.
Yeah.
And that pushes me up in October.
Yes.
Nowhere near my financial year, nowhere near the calendar year, nowhere near the tax year.
Yeah.
I'd have to register for VAT at that point in time.
You would, yes. So technically, you'd need to register the start of the month following when you breach the threshold. So you'd need to register from the 1st of December if you went over in October.
This sounds like it could be easily missed by a busy contractor.
Very easily, yes. Yeah.
Right, okay.
But
how far can you go by missing it before you can retrieve your position? So you say a month. The month after I've gone through it, let's say I've got all the way back round to April before are you in a world of trouble?
You would have to backdate your registration to when it should have been.
Right.
And then all the sales that you made in between that period when you should have been VAT registered,
Yeah.
when you realise you should have been VAT registered,
Right.
you would have to charge VAT on.
Go back to customers that have already paid?
Either it will be deemed by HMRC that you've charged them VAT, whether or not you have done so, or especially if they are VAT registered businesses and they can recover the VAT,
Right.
what you can do in some instances is approach them, explain the situation, raise a VAT-only invoice for the VAT that you should have charged them, but you didn't do, and providing they agree, then you can do that to recover the VAT you should have originally charged.
Yeah.
But if your customers are not, let's say you do a lot of domestic work, and your customers are not businesses and not VAT registered, they're unlikely to
give you money.
Be happy with you raising a VAT-only invoice when they have a price that was agreed upon.
And you've got to find that yourself, have you?
Yes. So it's quite a big risk.
Did you know that?
No, I didn't actually know. I learned that one. So
Any comments come in, folks, if that's news to you? Cool, that is... Cool, I bet you have some difficult conversations, don't you? That must be... Yeah. Wow.
And obviously we see a lot of electricians now going into solar, where perhaps in the past you were rewiring houses and bunging in a consumer unit. Suddenly now you're putting in tens of thousands of pounds worth of equipment, although some of it might be zero rated stuff, you'd still be over the threshold.
As long as it's not exempt, yes, it would be counted as turnover for that purpose, yeah.
Yeah. And on that bombshell, most people have left now just to check the record. So it's 12 months rolling. So yeah, you could be doing brilliantly. You think, oh, I've got to April and gone through and went brilliant again. Actually, it wouldn't matter because the 2 brilliant months, February, March, April, May, June, are in the same rolling calendar. Wow.
Yeah, exactly.
That is tough. Okay. You got any more classic
So we would
moments?
advise to be organised and proactive and make sure you are keeping a record of what your turnover is on a monthly basis.
Yeah. That's a one. Now, someone's already said here. Now, here's an interesting question. Once you're registered for VAT, is it true that you can claim back VAT on business expenses for a certain period prior to registration?
That is correct, yes. So that's called pre-registration expenditure. So
Sounds like a loophole.
So there are 2 classes. Well, it's designed to allow you to recover VAT that relates to sales that you will make once you are VAT registered. So for goods, for any goods, any materials or any assets that you still own at the time you register for VAT, you can go back 4 years, but you have to own them at the time you register.
So a 4-year-old van?
Yeah, you could go back and claim the VAT on a van, yes.
That's like just giving you money, isn't it?
Yes, but you do still have that van, so you'll be using that van to make sales that are subject to VAT. So because there's that link, so because that asset's being used to make sales that are subject to VAT, you can recover the VAT on that cost.
It's a loophole.
Going back 4 years.
It's a loophole.
Those are the rules.
Take the win, Gary. Take
the
win.
win. It's great. Hopefully you got the receipt for that van.
And let's say, for example, let's say you had a big job and you purchased a load of materials up front just before you register for VAT, and you do the job after, so you have to charge VAT on those materials. When you're selling them on, you can recover the VAT on those materials.
Okay. I like it.
And then services, so any services that you've received in the 6 months prior to registration, you can also reclaim the VAT.
What do you mean by services?
So for example, if you have an accountant, so if you've received accountancy services in the 6 months prior.
You recommend people use an accountant?
I would do, yes.
That's your chance there. I would suggest, yeah. I'd imagine you make your money back tenfold, don't you, by having a decent accountant?
Especially if you're buying a lot of iPhones.
And 2 laptops in 2 years.
Yeah. Now, we have got a worked example, actually, because people often say, I'm going to be 20% more expensive. It doesn't work out like that. We're going to try and take you through a little worked example. Can we bring that one up, Joe? It's one there. So that was this. You can bring us half in. So we've done a little example here. If it was a project and you were invoicing non-VAT registered to a customer, so you'd send out an invoice to the customer of £10,000. If you had materials on that project of £3,000 and some overheads for your business, your van, your fuel, cheeky trip to Greg's every day, stuff like that, all of those materials and overheads include VAT, which you can't reclaim. Is that true?
You can't reclaim if you're not registered for VAT, yes.
Yeah. So then
if you are registered, yes, you can reclaim that VAT.
So then we'll flip it over. If you're registered for VAT, you'd be invoicing the customer then £12,000, but then you can recover the VAT on your materials. So you'd recover the £750 from VAT recovered. Yeah. So in reality, there's only an extra £1,250 paid by the customer.
Yeah. And the amount you invoice to your customer might depend on the type of customer. So if it's a domestic customer who isn't VAT registered, they might be resistant to paying £2,000 more. So you might have to absorb that output VAT that you charge, but it will still be offset to some degree by the VAT you can recover. Mm-hmm. If it's a VAT registered business you're providing a service to, then they'll be able to recover that. So if you charge the full extra VAT, it's not an additional cost to them. Yeah. But you would have the benefit of recovering all the VAT you've incurred.
Yes, you get the $750 then.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So if your customers are primarily VAT registered businesses, it's advantageous for you to register because you won't lose out because they'll recover the VAT when you charge it to them, but you can also recover the VAT that you incur.
Yeah. Sounds like a small person tax again, doesn't it? Business to business, and the problem is it? It's business to small person, isn't it? They're not VAT registered. That's where the problems come, isn't it? Chance I need to look at some of this, didn't they?
Was that?
Well, again, you can win on one hands down, and the other one's a bit more tough, isn't it?
Yeah. Tell your friend Gary.
Yeah, well, yeah. He's not got the same name as me.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay, so tax went digital, VAT went digital, didn't it?
Yes.
I've heard rumour, and some people trying to do tax returns in cardboard boxes and all the rest of it, and maybe zip up plastic wallets, okay, with bulldog clips. But you can't do that with VAT, can you? You can't now turn up the shoebox anymore.
So all VAT returns have to be filed through software that is making tax digital compliant, meaning that all transactions are digitally recorded, and the VAT return is filed through software that can connect to HMRC.
What's the benefits of that?
So there are numerous potential benefits for businesses who use systems that are MTD compliant. So there are quite a lot of new cloud-based accounting systems. So one example that we promote quite a lot is Xero, so XERO. So there are several benefits to businesses of using Xero. A lot of those are in increased efficiency and being able to automate various processes. So one example is Xero can be connected to your business bank account or bank accounts, and then import all the transactions from those accounts into the system.
Right.
And then it can also be set up to automatically process those transactions once they come into the system. So rather than you having to, especially if you've got a larger business and you've got thousands of transactions, rather than somebody having to manually sit there with a keyboard and type in all that data, all that information, you can largely automate a lot of that process by using one of these systems.
Sounds good. What if somebody doesn't quite get their VAT return done on time? Obviously, tax return, there's a small fine. I don't know about that, neither does my friend. But what about the VAT?
So in, I think it was late 2022, a new penalty regime was introduced for VAT, which is a points-based system for late filing of returns. So for each return that's filed late, you will be given a penalty point. Once you reach 4 points, there's a £200 automatic penalty.
Oh, so you get 3 rips at it then?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
And thereafter, for each further point, there's a further £200 penalty.
Right.
If you file the next 4 returns on time, those points will be wiped and you'll go back to having a clean slate.
A bit like your driving licence and effectively with the same system.
Yeah. Now, there's not just penalties for late filing, there's also penalties for late payment. So if you are over 15 days late in paying your VAT bill, there's a penalty which is a percentage of the VAT due. If you are over 31 days late, there's a further penalty which is a percentage of the VAT due. And thereafter there are daily penalties which are a percentage of the VAT due.
With no upper limit?
No. So yeah, so the penalties are much harsher for late payment of VAT as opposed to late filing.
Hopefully you're well insured.
You need to be well insured for the heart attack you get when that bill comes in.
Play the VAT, couldn't you?
Yeah.
Wow, that's something to unpack. I'm sure none of our viewers have ever been late or certainly fined for VAT, returning that one late. So, yeah, if you have, and you feel free to share your mistakes and how you got on going digital, that would be great to see those in the comments as well.
Sometimes people will see a VAT registered company as more trustworthy. The fact they've gone through that. Some feedback there from Greenhawk Construction. The fact that gives you. It's sort of it is a mark that you're over, at least over a certain size of turnover.
It gives the impression that you are, of a certain size,
Yeah.
Right. Okay.
Yeah, so someone's right. Yes, it is 90k. Turnover. So that obviously includes if you're. It's not just labour costs. It's the cost of all materials that you're in. Total value of invoices to the customer.
Yes.
I guess is the one, isn't it?
Total value of sales to the customer. Yeah.
Yeah. So that includes your labour and everything else. So.
It's impossible to stand it now. Almost, isn't it? You've got a really itsy bitsy teeny weeny company, which is not a problem, but 90 grand's not a lot, is it? That ain't a lot.
Yeah, and it's not as bad as people make out. I think you just have to get used to it. And top of that, don't spend the VAT money.
When's ours due? You've got to do it, you said next week.
7th of November. Yeah, it's 3 months plus a month and 7 days. So and it's paid in arrears. But yeah, you're right. They're
that's another benefit of using an accounting system. If you keep your records up to date, keep your accounts up to date, you'll know exactly how much VAT is due.
Do you?
So you can ensure that you save that amount.
Yeah. I mean, some people obviously can't do it now because it's digital, but back in the day when you used to take the shoebox down to the accountant and then suddenly the surprise came out that your £100,000 worth of VAT,
You'd spent.
you'd spent, then you had the heart attack. You didn't realise you had the insurance.
Yeah.
And you're glad you met me.
Yeah, absolutely.
Would that come out of his estate?
Someone's got to pay it. I don't think you can get away with not paying it, can you? I don't think,
Depends if you put it in trust or not.
Right.
Oh, so there is a way of dodging it. Well, I'm dead, so, I mean, the person's not with us anymore, is
Your
it?
beneficiaries will benefit from that. They don't care about you then. Once the money's in.
Once that dog's in that gold-plated house that you built for it, I'd be loving life, wouldn't he? You'd be forgotten in a heartbeat, absolute heartbeat. You'd be forgotten.
Gold-plated kennel.
Yeah.
Any more great questions coming in, Gordon?
Let's have a look. Cost is not bad. Let's have a look. What happens after 90k? Well, it's uncapped after that. You carry on paying and paying and paying. Let's have a look. Let's see. Just dial back in there.
So while we're doing that, I'm just going to do a little bit of tidying up, thanking everybody that supports the live stream. We've got every single member of eFIXX in the building today, so they're all behind the camera. So if we can just have a little look at the camera with the comments. So bring yourself in, Rick and Joe. So Rick and Joe are there.
Oh, was there Rick asleep there? We're just walking her up there.
Look at him, mate. He's all over the show. Look at him. He's had a disaster. And if we look elsewhere amongst, if I bring the hand camera in, someone we never see at the top there is Steve. So Steve's part of the eFIXX team as well as the people here. We're used to seeing Jenny, Joe, and it's great to have Joe up with us. Okay, it's a very rare treat. We have a little bit more of Mr. Hammond. He was live with me last time, and Joe.
Shout, Gary's had those blue pills.
Yeah, I know. He's yes, and they are proper blue pills as well. I thought, they say blue plasters, but you drop one of them, you know where that one's gone. So that's the position we're in. We had a fantastic show, and I'd like to thank the wonderful Gary for joining us and setting a new record, which is absolutely fabulous, which is
proud.
the slowest person
actually,
ever.
I'm actually proud. I thought we were doing penalties or kick me ups.
I do not think that'll ever get beaten because you've got 60 seconds on the person.
It will be. No, it will be.
No, I don't think so. I think you'll be there forever, Gary. You will absolutely be there. Jonathan, I thought for a 6-minute time that was absolutely fantastic. You had 2 bald heads as well in the number, which I thought was great. I thought it was a nice homage to your 6 minutes there. That is a fabulous time, and in the old days you would have been on that board. Next time out, we've got CPN Kudos. Is that right?
Yes, Kudos.
Yeah, we've got Kudos. Yeah. So they're in next time out with us. So imagine that circuit protection, B-type RCDs and F-types and all those type of things. Is that where we're going next time, do you think?
We can delve into them, can't we?
Because you're going to need them, believe it or not. And I think a little job that we used for the clamp meter just a few weeks ago.
A lot of DC leakage. Surprising.
Absolutely.
And, just a few things up there. Obviously, I'll put out our e-news early next week. I will include a link for your website and insurance, and obviously we can frighten people to death again by email. I'll also leave a link to the Stirk Lambert website. You've got an update coming up on the budget.
Yes, we do.
I'm sure there's some loads of other things in there that will be picked apart, and clearly there'll be winners and losers.
Yes, we will be releasing a budget summary, so if anybody would like that, please do get in touch.
Yes, and we trust Stirk Lambert to keep us on the right side of the tax thing, so we haven't
trusting you in 7 days, haven't we? You got to get
we will be trusting me in 7 days, and I don't think we've had 4 points for missing it, but there we go. Okay. Hopefully I don't fall over before then.
Okay. We'd like to thank everyone who gives up some time to watch us, whether it's live or on the catch-up, whether you're on Facebook or on YouTube. We absolutely love the comments that come in, and they drive the live streams forward, and we think this is one of those ones we've been trying to bring to you for a long time, to bring together both Gary and Jonathan, to bring what we think is critical parts of a business that are probably overlooked when we're just out there doing a fabulous job week in, week out. Talking about fabulous jobs, that's it for us. Until 2 weeks' time, we'll be live again. But of course, we've got an AI song to end the live stream. We'll see you in 2 weeks. Thank you ever so much.
Today is budget day, but not much to celebrate. Rachel kept it quiet, left us guessing our fate. But Jonathan's here with a VAT saving scheme, brightening the mood with that tax saving dream. Oh, budget day blues, we're making it through. With accountants and advisors, we know what to do. Hammond's here with a prize on the way, a holiday to win, now that's some cheer today. Insurance on the line, Jonathan's got us secure. Protection in place so we can endure.